Okay, so I was supposed to get up this morning and take my godmother to run a couple of errands. And my husband did not wake me up, or if he did, I slept through it, for me to take him to work so I can keep the truck today. One vehicle problems, y'all. One vehicle problems, but a new vehicle is not on the... We've had one vehicle pretty much since we've been together. In fact, that's how we got closer. I gave him my phone number at work, and then we started talking a little bit. And then my car broke down one day on the way home from work. And he lived an hour to an hour and a half away from where I lived. And it took me about 20 minutes to get to work. So it took him almost 2 hours to get to work. And I broke down on the way home. And he left out right before I did at work. So he was already on interstate going to the town he lived in, and I was on a back road over here by my home, and my car broke down. And the area he lived in did not have very good cell phone service, so he was not receiving my phone calls. I called him like 3 times in a row. Which we had just started dating, so it wasn't, I don't know. Let's just say I got pretty upset. Because I was on the road with my car overheating. So I called a friend of mine, and him and his son, rest in peace to his son, he passed away shortly after this. Well, about 2 years after this happened. But I called my friend, and my friend called his son, and they worked in 2 different areas. My friend worked at the same plant I worked in, and so he started heading my way, and then he called his son to head my way also, to see, if there was anything they could help. I mean, at least give me a ride home, something while I got a tow truck or something. And then I called my mom, thought my mom knows right down the side of the road, and my mom's boyfriend at the time, or, I'm sorry, he was her ex-boyfriend at the time, but he still stayed over at the house 2 nights a week. He was a truck driver, and he was in Louisiana 2 nights a week, and he would just sleep over at mom's while they were dating. Well, no point in him getting a hotel. Sorry, I had to get rid of a notification on my screen. Another one. But, no point in him, changing up the routine. He was family, So, when mom moved out and I took over the place, he just still came and stayed 2 nights a week with no issues. And he was in that night. So mama called him, even though they were broke up. They still, to this day, they still talk. They're still friends. He was the first guy she dated after becoming a widow. So he really saved her life. He was a widower. No, he was a widow. I don't know. A widower, and she was a widow. I guess that's how you say it. So he kind of helped her through because he had been there, had done that, So he kind of helped her through and was there for her. And they were together for 7, 8 years. So they really became really good friends during all that. And his health got real bad, and mom was like, I can't bury another one. He's still alive to this day, so they went ahead and cut ties. But anyways, he was in town that night, so she called him, seeing if he had made it in yet, to drop off his rig and pick up the company truck to drive it over to the house, and he had. So I'm pulled up into a stranger's driveway with 2 vehicles pulled up on the side of the road and 1 vehicle parked in the church parking lot across the street. And I have the homeowner just drove in through his yard on the side because I was blocking his driveway and went straight into his home. Like, okay, her car's broke down. He didn't offer no help. He did nothing. And then shortly, he didn't ask me if I was okay, anything. My car is smoking in his driveway. He just goes inside. He drives through his yard, pulls up, goes inside, which, I mean, I wasn't expecting help from a complete stranger anyway. Even though in the South, we usually pull over and help anybody. He didn't fuss at me for being parked in his driveway or nothing. I mean, he just ignored me, drove through his yard, pulled up under his car part, and went in. My friend parked across the street at the church. My neighbor and my mom's ex-boyfriend both pulled up on the side of the road. And we had my hood open. We were adding water. We were doing everything we could to get it to calm down. And I was like, I need to call a tow truck. Well, during that time, I called Slim. And I was like, don't worry about it. You don't have to answer my effing phone calls. I have friends who do. And I thought that was going to be the end of it. Like, we had only been dating for, like, we hadn't even officially went out on a date yet. We had just been telephone friends. Kind of, you know, talking, flirting, talking about having a night off work to where we could actually go on a date. I mean, we talked on the phone for 3 months before we ever saw each other outside of a hard hat and safety glasses. Like, it was crazy. That's what happens whenever you work. I was working hard 16s and he was working 12 hours a day. And I was working hard 16s, which is 16 hours a day, 16 days straight. And then I had 2 days off. But my 2 days fatigue never coincided with his 1 day fatigue, because every 7 days he got 1 day off. Every 16 days I got 2 days off. Plant talk. I don't know if y'all understand that. But my friend and his son ended up being able to drive my car back to my house. I refused to get back behind the steering wheel. Like, I was hot. I had been at work all day. I got off early that day. It was a Saturday. I'm hot. I'm sweaty. It's like the middle of August. It was like 109 degrees with the heat index. It was just, and I was miserable. And then my air conditioner already did not work in my car. So there's that. Well, the next day my friend came and picked me up and took me to work, which was way out of his way. Because he lived not far from the plant. And like I said, like, I was 15 minutes away. So he would have to drive my way like 10 minutes and then drive another 15 minutes there instead of just being 5 minutes away. So the next morning he came and picked me up from work that Sunday. And then after that, I started catching rides to work with Slim. And he had a little bitty Dodge Stratus, I think it was. My husband is 6'6". His car, it was his daughter's car. He co-signed on it. She couldn't make payments in North Carolina, so he sold his car and took over her car. So it was a little light blue little girl's car, young woman's car. I'm not going to say little girl. She was, you know, in her mid-20s. So, you know, a young woman's car. It did not fit him at all. But hey, he got here from North Carolina and he drove it for 2 years. Well, my car, there was no, I mean, my car wouldn't pass inspection after that. So no matter what I did to it, it was just so much money to get it to pass inspection that I just didn't even worry about it. So I sold my little car, like $300. Dog. Which is what I could have gotten at the junkyard with it. but somebody else decided they wanted to try to fix it. I was like, well, the junkyard will take 300. The scrapyard will take 300 for it, so I'll let it go for 300, and you'll save me from cutting the gas tank off and disposing of it. So I sold it to a girl I went to school with for 300 because her husband had grand plans with the car. It never worked out. Hey, it got her around from point A to point B for a little while, but so when he moved in with me, we had his car. I borrowed my mom's car to get back and forth to work some days, and then he would bring me back and forth to work other days. And that's how we started dating. One vehicle, mine broke down. Then he moved in with me, and that car was not big enough for the family. I mean, my boys are huge. At the time, Gavin was, 5'11", could not get in the back seat behind Slim at all. So we had to put my youngest behind Slim, and then if I got all the way up against the dashboard, as far up as my seat would go, then Gavin could fit behind me. So we would do that, and it was very uncomfortable for everyone involved. And as the boys kept growing, it was like, we're not going to fit in this car much longer. We need something else. So that's whenever we traded the car in, and all my income tax money one year, and we got the truck together. He traded in his car. I put $5,000 down, which was what I got on income tax for that in particular year for both my kids and me. And we bought the truck together. And we've had it ever since. It was flooded in 2016. I mean, they had water all the way up to the seat. Insurance took care of that. They didn't total it out because we weren't dumb enough to crank it under the flood water. A lot of people with our insurance company, when they came out to assess the damage and cut us a check, a lot of people, like Shu said, you'd be surprised at how many people cranked it underwater. Like, we pushed it for an hour until we got it onto high enough ground. Like, we just put it in neutral and took off. Because once you crank it, it sucks water up into the exhaust, and then you destroyed it. You flooded it. So we put it in neutral and went pushed it for a half hour until we got it out of the flood water and let it drain out while we were walking back and forth, loading it up with stuff to take to the shelter with us. And then we cranked it. They were putting in rescue boats. I mean, water was chest deep to me. It was only waist deep to my husband, but it was chest deep to me. Like, we were flooded. That's when my trailer got destroyed. That's another story. The trailer I'm living in now, my church donated to me. And that's another story. I'm going to see if I can't find that clip on the internet of my church filmed our reaction seeing the trailer for the first time. I may have to edit the kids out of it some kind of way, blur their faces or something. See if I can't look for that in the future. But yeah, I mean, we've just had one vehicle. I mean, that's how we met. We met with one vehicle. But yeah, one vehicle problems. Again, I lost my train of thought, y'all. I've been in front of that computer in front of my television. I've tried mirroring my screen to my television, which works good. And right now I have it just HDMI hooked up to my television for a bigger screen for me to edit in. Because like I said, the laptop's only a 13.3 inch. And I'm old. My eyesight's not the best. So, I just have a headache. I'm stressed. I'm tired. If anybody has any suggestions, tips, I've watched every video tutorial I can think of. Alright, I'm going to show y'all the babies a little bit, and then I'm going to show y'all my horrible computer screen that I'm tired of looking at. Look at the baby. face. They done dug them a hole back there. Cat flag. Okay, but as you see, I'm not even sure if I'm doing this right, but something's going to be another 38 minutes, 47 seconds. That clip down there, by the way, right there, does not make it into the video. The voice does, but the actual camera angle doesn't. But my computer, and right now I just have it hardwired in. I can screen share it to the screen, but I just find it a lot easier to use the wireless mouse and keyboard, and I have no idea. I'm trying this Adobe Premiere Pro out and seeing how I like it. I paid for the Corel, but it's bugging out and giving me a headache, so yeah. I got my tripod here for my camera, but the camera, let me see. I could really use another set of hands. Hold on, let me set y'all down and pick up the camera. Okay, but this is the camera. Let me see. Excuse my people, sorry. And whenever you play back the video on here, it looks amazing, which I deleted the video. But whenever you upload it and you try to play it, let me see. Whenever you upload it and you're talking, the camera is doing like, it's moving like 100 times, 100 miles an hour. Like this film's just, so you have to slow it down to 50% speed. And then talking, I'm talking like this. And it's like really, really, really weird. Like a man sounding voice. It doesn't even sound like me. In order for the audio and the video to fit. So I unlinked the audio and the video, and I put the audio, kept it at 100%, and then put the video at 50%, and like half speed. And it works, and it, like, the video doesn't look like it's going too fast, like the chickens are moving around normal, and everything looks fine. But then stuff I'm talking about, like I'm talking about the waterer, like literally a half second before I'm actually showing the waterer on camera, which isn't a big deal whenever you're doing it looking at the chickens. But then I turned the camera around to a selfie view and tried to talk to y'all a little bit about, you know, my husband not waking me up, my godmother, my son and his contacts and all that stuff. And I look like one of those old kung fu movies where they move their mouth like that and no words are coming out. And where was I going with that? Oh, but my mouth is moving really fast and I'm talking like crazy. But the voice is lagging way back here, and then the whole video's done while I'm still talking. So I slowed that down to 50% and unhooked it from the audio and left the audio at 100%. And it looks right, but I could not get the audio to sync up with the words. I don't know. It's very confusing. I've been trying to change my frames per second. Right now I have it at 60 frames per second. Maybe that's why it looks like it's going a million miles an hour. Or double speed, I guess, is better, because if I'm doing it at half and it's going normal, I imagine it's playing back at like double speed. I don't know. I don't know if I should change it to 30 frames per second. I can't go up to 120 frames per second. It's not like I can double the frames. So I'm not sure what to do. I'm lost. I'm confused. But I know how to do this. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this up so y'all can see the babies. It's already afternoon and y'all have not seen them yet. Hold on. Gotta let you see. The little girl's sleeping. Move some mail out the way so you don't get my address. And Doc in his second favorite spot, looking out the door, spying on the neighbors. What are the neighbors doing? And then my tripod that I was gonna film all kind of stuff today with the camera, but if I can't figure out how to upload a 12-minute video without it taking 5 hours, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm trying to do a 2-hour long cleaning video. I don't know. I'm lost, y'all. I need help. What do you need, Doc? Is the chickens out? Chickens are probably out. Alright, guys. Let me go check on the chickens, see if they're out, because he usually gets like that whenever the chickens are out. And, I mean, the chickens don't go far. They stay in the yard, but... Alright. Bye, guys. Love y'all.